Good morning and afternoon, depending on where you are. We're about to start a exclusive webinar on complex test automation, hosted by Shift Asia and Testsigma. Please let me know if you encounter any technical issues. General questions throughout the session. Please feel free to post it in the chat section as we have the Q&As at the end. And also we have a pop-up survey showing up on your screen now or later in the session. So we would love to have your cooperation on it. Okay, so I guess we could get started. It's 9:02. Great. So just a reminder on what we're going to focus our discussions today. Mostly how to build robust test cases to prepare for complex test automation, and as well as how to automate those complex test scenarios using industry-leading AI test automation tool like Testsigma. And we have 3 special guests to go through these agenda today. So first one being Gayatri. She's a solution engineer at Testsigma. Can you hear me, Gayatri? Would you like to say hello?
Yes, Namiko. Hi, everyone.
Awesome. Next up, we have Miki. She's a unit lead manager, managing teams of manual test engineers at Shift Asia. Miki, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm currently a quality assurance manager at Shift Asia. Nice to see you all.
Wonderful. And last up, we have Peter. He's a director leading test automation and development business at Shift Asia. Would you like to say hello as well?
Hello, everyone. It is nice to meet you today.
Awesome. So it's great to have you all. So we have 3 very passionate experts, very passionate about quality of software products and related tech. So I hope the audience is excited about the webinar today. So before we get into the content, just in 1 minute, I would love to introduce a little bit about us. So Shift Asia, as part of Shift Group, we are a sizable software QA powerhouse with offices in Japan, Singapore, and Vietnam, and platinum partner of ISTQB International. And these are examples of some of our clients, mostly in SAP, finance, insurance, e-commerce, and etc. So first, I would like to address 2 common questions that we get from our clients. One is that clients ask us, well, automation in our organization has become more of a routine work. We're just looking at, pass rate, but if I really wanted to make it, effective, where do we start? So the answer to that question is you can go back to the manual test cases and realign on things. And that is why our first part of the webinar today is going to be focusing on how you can build robust test cases and realign on your test strategy. And by doing so, you can make sure that your test automation is efficient and achieves certain efficacy and does what it's supposed to do. And it's determined by robust test case designs, and not ensures you have the right coverage. The right coverage, and it helps to calculate how much you're actually saving by doing automation. Sorry, there's a pop-up on my screen. I don't know how to delete it, but I'm sure the audience is seeing the same pop-up, so please fill that up quickly so it goes away from your screen. My screen's definitely blocked right now, but okay. So that's that. And then another question we get is how much is automation relevant? Because automation or QA in general is like never the shiniest highlight of any, you know, product making. Like, is it relevant? Is it going to go away? So the answer to that is definitely no. Coded and low code automation is here to stay. And the market growth is set to be about 15% by the year of 2027. And it's definitely going to be crucial to any product making because a lot more tools are going to be made with low code frameworks. And those are definitely not close to perfect. So it's going to need constant testing, and that's where automation comes in. Another thing to look at is the market growth data that I briefly mentioned. You can see the growth, you know, by the end of 2027, 2028. And you can definitely see the growth, especially in banking, finance, automotive, healthcare industries. It's probably because they're, you know, implementing automation part of their digital transformation efforts. Okay. Okay, from here, I would like to hand it over to you, Miki. Be able to see my screen and take over.
Okay, good. Thank you, Amiko. I will take over from here. So my part is about test design techniques. So we have 3 parts in these sections. First is a strategy different for various type of products. Second, how to design an automation ready test cases. And 3, some do's and don'ts. So first, to answer the questions, is a strategy different for various type of products? The answer is yes. The purpose of testing overall, as you know, is to ensure the system reliability, functionality, security, etc. So depending on the product types, domains, or product missions, purposes, the objective and test strategy can change accordingly. So it could be a manual testing approach, automation testing approach, or a combination of both. As our focus is on automation this time, we will focus on the automation can be used for like various type of testing, and they often use in cross-browser tests, function tests, API or performance tests, etc. But the most significant you can see is in functional testing. Especially automation is used in regression tests, as these consume a lot of times and resources for every release of testing process. So it is highly recommended to use automation in regression testing. So for the automation testing process to be performed effectively, test case design plays a very important role. This time I won't go deeper into analyzing difference between testing for different type of products, but only showing the general approach on how to create test case for automation. So how to design an automation ready test cases? We have 3, 4, 5 steps here. Step 1, identify actors and scenario purposes. So actors here means the users or roles of the users in one particular system. So here we need to identify the number of systems related to the test and their users. And for the scenario purposes, this is what you want to verify in the scenario, this test case. So once you have identified your objectives, you can determine the scope of the scenario. So move on to step 2. Once you identify the methods in step 1, you will break the flow into steps. The step here are activities to reach the scenario purposes, the objectives of us. So in here, we need to make another list of activities that we need to perform. So by answering these questions, you can do this. Who needs to do what in where? For example, the customer needs to add the products into cart. So you can have this as one step. So after you consider the step, we will move on to step 3, which is identify conditions and inputs that affect the outcome. So example for the conditions and inputs is, for example, conditions will be payment method, and the inputs will be bank transfer or credit card payment or cash on delivery, etc. So for each step that you identify in step 2, you need to identify sets of conditions, variables that will affect the flow or change the state, the quality, or the value of the objects that you want to check it in. So there is a cause and effect relationship between the conditions input and the expected result at the end here. So if you choose inputs that expected to deliver a similar result at the end, there's high chance that the input chosen is not effective or maybe incorrect. So after you're done with step 3, you move on to create a test data table if necessary. And finally, you get all the information, you put all the information that has been identified in the previous step into the final test cases in step 5. Okay, so for type of testing that the test could be executed in a single step or a field step like ABI testing. The focus here will be on step 3, 4, and 5, and step 1, 2 could be skipped. Okay, please move on to the next slide, please. Okay, here is a sample test case written using the 5-step process that I mentioned before. So here we have a test scenario of a simple e-commerce site. The scenario purpose is here to verify the order flow and the calculation of shipping fee with different products and different delivery settings. So firstly, we need to identify the purpose and the actors of this flow. So we have the purpose and 2 users here, 2 actors here, the shop admin and customer. And next, we need to break the flow into steps. And then we have a total of 7 steps here from S1 to S7. So we will go from step 1 first, and then move on to S2, S3, and final, and at S7. And after you identify on the step, you will, for each step here, there will be conditions, variables that will affect the final results of the flow. So we need to identify this. So for example, S3, we have the product quantity as conditions, and their input is a single item or multiple items, for example. Okay, so after you're done with step 1, 2, 3, you could create a data table. Move on to the next slide, please. Yes, a test data table on the right here. And the final result will be on the right. This is a test case of us. And in here, we will have all the information, the conditions, inputs, their combinations, and also the trigger, the detailed triggers, and the confirmation points, and the expected result for each case will be listed out. We also call this pattern table by using this. The comprehensive of combinations are visualized, so you can ensure that a high coverage of testing is guaranteed, and all the conditions that were listed here will be tested at least one. So we can preventing omissions here, and also using this data table, this pattern table, sorry, we can use the list number of combinations and to limit the possibility of duplications. Okay, so finally, what you should do and you should not do when created automation-ready test cases. So for condition inputs, the value should be specified. So you should input in a specific number or value, like 10% to products, not a range or some optional or selections like less than 15% or either A or B. Similarly, the expected result also should be like in a specified form. So, for example, the total price is $100 US. Instead of writing something like total price is calculated correctly. And one more note, instead of select a value change setting on front, if the input value setting could be changed, edited by accessing directly to the database or by making API call, the direct access method is highly encouraged to deliver better productivity. Okay, this is the end of my part. So next part is about how to deliver effective automation. I hand it over to the next panelist. Thank you.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Peter. I'm the director of Automation Testing Development Division at Asia. Today I'm going to discuss a little bit about how the strategy that we just use in order to deliver an effective automation. So in my part, there are going to be 3 topics, like what kind of the test case, the criteria in order to select the test case that we can put into the automation. And the second topic is going to be end-to-end test scenarios that should be automated in functional testing or end-to-end test scenarios. And the third one should be when should we apply the automation test in the software testing lifecycle. So can you move on for the first and the criteria? Okay, so not all of this case should be automated, because when you talk about automation, it means that you're going to create a program to test the other program. So the more test case you select, the more effort you have to create your program. So it's going to cost you a lot of initial costs in order to create a program. So you should choose the test case wisely. If you choose the test case wisely, so you can increase the effectiveness of your automation strategy. So here I'm going to talk about, you have 3 criteria in order to select your test case. So the first thing, we're going to talk about the frequency. The second thing is complexity and the data driven. So for frequency, it means that your test case should be repeatedly executed, because if your test case only executed once, so you don't need to put it into automation, right? So the cost to automate is going to cost you a lot than you just executed one. And the second thing is complexity. So when we talk about the complexity, it means that the number of the steps test case include, because the more number of the test case, the more complex it has. So because the manual tester has to execute many steps and it's prone to human errors. With that scenario, so you should put the test case into automation plan. And the third one is going to be data driven, because when you are testing an application, you have to put various type of data, like in order to increase the coverage. For a test case, it include a lot of data, so you should put into the automation as well, because you reduce the cost to execute that kind of test case. Okay. So, and the second topic I'm going to talk is what kind of test case, what kind of testing type that we should put automation should we put automation into functional testing or in end-to-end testing? So in my experience in the past with a lot of clients from Japan, that I conducted that we should put automation into end-to-end, because you know that the end-to-end scenario test includes a lot of test case include a lot of steps, so that the complexity is very high, and then it going to integrate various modules systems. So in order for a test manual to execute the scenarios, the tester should conduct a lot of steps. Like you have to go to the database, register the data, and then go to the application to check the application, stuff like that. So we can put that into a scenario, into an automation. It's going to be very effective. And the second thing is because some of the user unfriendly behavior is going to be we can check that as well. And if in my previous experience, if you can like 40% of the test case in the end-to-end phase, so you can increase the the release time of your product as well. And another factor is like, because if we can automate the test case, so when the automation testing fail, the program is going to give you a lot of benefit information to help you to quickly troubleshooting and identify the defects, rather than you have to ask with the and receive the feedback from the manual team. Okay, so can you move to the next slide? Okay, so finally, when to automate, so should you automate it from the beginning of the developing phase, or should you automate when some of the function be robust? And in my opinion, that because most of the automation is going to check with your graphic user interface. So if your graphic user interface changed rapidly, you shouldn't put the automation into the testing strategy, because you have to reward the automation very frequently if the GUI change. So at least the GUI should be robust enough and it's stable enough, so you should put the automation into that phase. So it should be like integration and system testing phase in the software testing lifecycle. And another thing is you can put the automation into like white box testing using the unit testing. So it's another strategy that it should be conducted by the developers. It's not like third-party testing like automations, like end-to-end testing. And that is it for my section. So the next thing I'm going to hand over to our Namiko.
No, actually, this is one more slide.
Okay, sorry. So this is just another case study that we have with our client. So this is we had our client for the e-commerce, like online shopping mall, and we provide them a manual testing team and also an automation testing teams. And how it was like, the manual testing team is going to create a test case and then test the new function for the client. And when the new function be robust, and we put that into the automation phase, because the client want to do the regression testing every time they release. They want to retest out of the previous feature to make sure that all of the functionality works before the release. So with that in mind, that our automation testing team and our manual testing team collaborate together, and we define which test case should be put into the automated team, and it leads to the result that is safe. The first thing is we still we still protect the customer quality product, the quality of the product, but also we increase the release time for the client as well. And with that in mind, we're going to have the client to rotate their business. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Peter and Mickey. So that's that for how to create automation-ready test cases and what's the criteria for effective automation. But who's leading the innovation? It's definitely companies like Testsigma. So Narain, are you ready to take control?
Yep. I hope you folks can see my screen on the slide.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Namiko. Thanks, Peter, Mickey. I'm Narain, and really excited to be here in this webinar. I head up marketing at Testsigma, and Testsigma is essentially a unified low-code test automation platform. And what that means is our customers and users are able to write their test cases using just plain English, right? With no need for any kind of upskilling or knowledge of coding required, right? And that means we are able to have our customers develop test cases 10x faster because it's, again, in English, it's like talking to a friend or talking to Siri, right? And of course, the beauty here is that we are very simple to get started, but we are enterprise ready. As you see in one of the subsequent slides, we do support a lot of huge companies, but we are like super easy to get started. So I'll quickly, kind of talk a bit more about the product itself. So if you notice, I use the word unified, right, to describe Testsigma, and what that means is you can use Testsigma as that one platform really to replace a bunch of your QA test stack across reporting or testing infra or test management, right, or frameworks, real devices. You have it all in just one platform, so you can actually replace a bunch of your your QA stack with just one platform. And like I said, it's low code, it's AI powered. It's AI powered maintenance, AI powered. We are just in very close to beta with a few of our large customers where they are using Testsigma's AI capabilities like test generation and test coverage, right? So the AI algorithm is able to tell you effectively on what you need to test on, right? When you really upload the app. And of course, you can run your tests at speed and scale because you get access to 3,000 plus real devices when you use Testsigma. And a bit more, going into the platform itself, right? Like I said, you can test, it's unified again. You can test your web apps, mobile apps, native Android iOS apps, mobile web, APIs, and even enterprise apps like Salesforce, for example. And I'm just going to skip through this, just a bunch of features. But yeah, I think we are recording this call, so you'll have access to the slide if you want to refer to this later. And okay, and of course, feel free to visit testsigma.com if you need more info about the product itself. I spoke about this. I spoke about 10x faster, low code, zero links. I'm just going to skip through this, and I'm going to go to my favorite slides, the customer slides, because this is where the real meat lies. So I speak about a couple of customers here. One is Perfect Mind, who's like a US parks and recreation software management software, and they are based in the US, and they are a customer. And I mean, they were able to, I'll speak more about these in the next slide, but they were able to really achieve 90% coverage through automation, in a year. And then we have Hansard Global, where we were able to really save a lot of time. So we were able to, what took months, where they weren't able to do in days, right? And First Campus, one of our favorite customers, they're based in Singapore. It's a supermarket chain in Singapore. And again, they were using a combination of, I think it was Selenium, and they were struggling with the automation because they had a lot of manual testing capability in-house, and they were kind of struggling to automate. So Testsigma kind of fit in well, and we replaced Selenium, and they are now running Testsigma, and really they are like releasing software at speed and scale. Perfect Mind, like I said, it's a parks and recs maintenance software in the US. And when we first spoke to them, they were like a team of manual testers, like super talented team of testers, but they were struggling to automate. And that's when they reached out to us, and we stepped in, and they kind of started automating using Testsigma's low-code platform. So they used simple English to really write their test cases, and everybody in the company was able to really start automating. And this includes BAs, developers, QA team, analysts, and that was amazing, right? So what really took like I think a couple of weeks now takes them 2 days, right? And now everybody is able to collaborate and test. They use our AI capabilities, and I would say they are like one of our happy customers. Talking about happy customers, one customer who we really love is Hansard. So Hansard Global PLC is a financial services company, and this is very interesting. They are based in Isle of Man in Europe, and this is very interesting because they are in the financial services world where compliances are very strict. You cannot afford to even have like a few minutes of downtime, right? That's kind of how strict they are with compliances, and it's Europe and financial services. So this was a great experience for us helping Hansard out with Testsigma. Again, they were like a team of automation testers and manual testers, and they were kind of spending a lot of time really trying to automate their test cases. And the deployment was, I think, once in 6 months, right? And today, after using Testsigma, the deployment cycle is, I think, once in a couple of weeks, right? And they didn't have to really worry about setup. It was all out of the box, right? They use Testsigma with Jenkins, and it was all kind of working from day one. They had a big team. I think they invested a lot of energy into just integrations, and with Testsigma, it's all kind of out of the box. And again, what took weeks or months now takes hours and days, right? Like I said, it takes 30 minutes now. What used to take weeks. So that's a huge win for Hansard's testing team and for us. And now they're able to really have a bi-weekly deployment cycle. What took 6 months now takes 2 weeks, right? And it was purely manual, and now they are like I think they are at 90% automation using just Testsigma from zero automation. So one of my favorite stories, and I love talking about Hansard to our other customers. So like I said, 3x automation happened, test coverage 100%, and now it takes them 30 minutes or less to really run their sanity tests. And they're based in Europe, and these are some of our other large customers. Like I said, right, Testsigma is simple to set up and use, but it doesn't mean that we are not enterprise ready. Some of the biggest companies in the world, like Samsung, Cisco, Bosch, Oscar Health, a big insurance company in the US, and HP Enterprise, Hansard Global, these amazing companies and amazing QA teams across the world. Of course, the world's Fortune 500 companies use Testsigma. And yeah, I mean, if you have any questions, you can please reach out to the team at Shift Asia. By the way, we just got rated a leader in the Spring G2 review, so that's a big achievement for us. And reach out to us if you have any questions. Reach out to Shift Asia's amazing team. We are here to help you. And thanks to Shift Asia's team for the opportunity. And I will now move on to the next speaker, Namiko.
Thank you. I think next up, Gayatri, if you're ready to
Yeah,
give a
sure.
demo.
Sure,
Thank
Namiko.
you.
Thanks, Naren. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here today. My name is Gayatri, and I'm really excited to show you how Testsigma can revolutionize your, testing process, especially when it comes to effectively automating testing for advanced and multifaceted software projects, right? As a pre-sales engineer at Testsigma, I work closely with our users to ensure they get the most out of our platform. So today I'll be walking you through a demo of our product. So what's on the agenda for the demo? So, I'll be talking about some of the cool features of Testsigma, like how you can automate your test effortlessly. What are the integrations that we offer with third-party systems, and how we automate the test effortlessly with the record and playback feature, and how we help you increase your test coverage, reduce your effort of test maintenance, and we'll also cover how we develop script for some of the complex use cases, which includes handling OTPs, two-factor authentications, and we'll also cover the scanning, the QR code and barcode scanning as well. So we all know how challenging it can be to maintain high quality software, right? And to keep up with fast release cycles. So my goal here is to show you how Testsigma can help you tackle those challenges head on and enhance your test automation for intricate projects. All right, let's get started. I'll share my screen. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yeah.
All right. So as you all know, we are a no-code platform, right? So we develop test cases based on simple English language, plain English language. So we are a unified test automation platform. We support web, mobile browser, native Android, iOS, API, and even desktop applications as well. So the key feature of Testsigma is that we use simple English words to build the test scripts. It's called as NLPs, natural language programming, so that anyone with no prior coding language knowledge can build the scripts over here in Testsigma in just a single day. So today we'll be automating a simple scenario in a web application, which will happen in this sample website. And here in Testsigma, you have the option to add multiple users. Your team can collaborate each other in different projects. So that's when you have the project option to create your project and have your application specific projects maintained well in Testsigma. So I already have created a project over here. You can see here, within which I have added multiple types of applications. Similarly, I can create multi-app projects, or you can have a dedicated application created under a single project as well. Now we'll just move ahead with create test. So we can see how we can record the feature, the use case, and we can execute the script in different combinations of browsers. So we'll come to test case. So before I go ahead and develop my test case, I would like to let you know that Testsigma has its own recorder extension, so which would help you to perform all your actions in your application, such that those actions which you perform will be recorded and converted into simple natural steps. That's how we will be developing the scenarios. So we'll see how that happens. So we'll click on create test case to create a test case. So here you can give the test case a name. And you can see these are called the NLPs. Navigate, this is called the NLP, navigate to test data. So by default, we'll have to navigate to some URL to start automating the flow, right? So let me copy my URL of the application which I'm planning to automate. So I'll copy it and click on record here. So this will initialize the recorder and it'll open a new window. And here I'll navigate to my application, so which will record that step and open the Testsigma recorder widget. So here, using this green color widget, this is our recorder extension. Using this widget, we'll be performing all different actions in the application, such that those actions are getting recorded here under the Testsigma recorder widget as natural language. So we'll see how that happens. So I click on select to Washington, search flights, morning departure. You can see as I do all my actions, these actions are getting recorded here as natural language. This is how we'll be developing a flow over here in Testsigma. Now you have the option to modify everything you have captured. So you can parameterize your the data that you're using. You can even encrypt it right away from this record mode itself. So let's say you want to import your data sheet where you have maintained your data. You can do data-driven testing, parameterize it, or even you can run your script across multiple environments, dynamically generate your data, or even you have the option to modify the details of each element that you have captured. So you can modify it. You can modify your name, screen name, locators, give some other value. And so we also support a feature called auto healing, which would help you ease your test case maintenance, which would ideally self-heal the element as well. So how it happens? So you might notice that whenever you capture an element using the recorder extension, it will not only capture that particular element detail, but also its related attributes as well, like the parent, sibling, child attributes of all the elements. Why? Because let's say if your application is dynamic, or if any attribute, tag, or value has been updated by your developer, right? So what happens when you run the script, it will not be able to identify this element anymore because it has been updated. So that's where the auto healing feature would kick in. And it would try to create multiple combinations of XPaths with the extra captured attributes, with its related attributes. And during runtime itself, it would try to locate the element with the new XPaths. And one XPath would be able to successfully locate the element and the step would pass. So we have applied AI for auto healing, which would help you handle your dynamic applications, which would ultimately help you to ease your test case maintenance as well. So once you develop the flow, you can click on stop recording. So this would take you back to your development page. So where you can see all the steps that you have recorded. Let me make it ready. Now in this page itself, you can parameterize your data, edit or encrypt or change your element details. You can rearrange your steps, add steps in between. So let's say you want to add some assertions. You just type in what is the action you want to perform. You will get the NLP under that particular drop down. So let's say I want to add some assertions. Just type in the keyword as verify, and you will get the list of NLPs under that particular action from which you can choose what kind of validation you want to perform. So when I talk about validation, so assertions can be done with anything that you see over here. Let's say, for example, you want to assert, verify URL, you want to verify your title, text, any element, any attribute of any element. So you can just type in as verify as a keyword, and you will get the list and you can choose and add it. So let's say, for example, I would like to verify if this page contains search flights text or not. Then I can choose this third NLP, verify that the current page displays text data, and in place of text data, I'll just give the text which I want to verify like this. Again, this can be fetched from your data sheet which you import, or from the environment, you can encrypt this as well. Also, when I talk about maintenance, I should also talk about the reusability, the reusable components which we have here in Testsigma, which are called step groups. So let's say if you feel like there are a certain number of steps in my test case, which are going to repeat in multiple scenarios, right? So then in that case, you can group all the steps which you feel are repeating. So the best example would be your login scenario, which is going to repeat in multiple scenarios, right? So then in that case, you can just group those steps, create a step group, name it, and click on create, so that all the steps that we have grouped has been created under a single module called, let's say here, reusable steps. So just make it ready. Now you can just call this step group wherever these steps are going to repeat. So how to call it? So let's say I come here, just click on add a step. And you can click on this green keyboard icon, which you see over here. And from this list, you can click on step group, and you can choose your step group which you want to add and click on create step, so that your step group is added. So this is how you can add a step group into any test case. This would also help you ease your test case maintenance as well. So your effort of re-recording the repeating steps is going to reduce with the use of step groups over here. Now we'll just delete this particular step group because all these steps are already repeating over there on top. Now it's not only what you see right now, right? You also support complex scenarios. And if you want to integrate, let's say if conditions, for loops, you want to turn a step into a conditional statement, while loops, so those can be integrated within each scenario. So that's where you can see over here, we can call your for loop, while loop. Even you can integrate APIs in between your scenarios and turn a step into if condition as well. Now I'll like to show you how we use the data generator functionality, which is inbuilt within the product, to handle the two-factor authentications. So I have a test case where email authentication happens. So here you can see in this test case, what we are doing is we are automating a scenario where we are generating the mailbox with the mailbox configured in Testsigma, and we are fetching the OTP from that particular mailbox and entering into the OTP field. So here you can see this is the step where we are entering the email. So here you can see we have used mailbox alias function, generate mailbox function, which comes as part of the data generator function in Testsigma. If you click on data generator, you can see few options under function type. So which would dynamically generate data. Let's say, for example, if you are using company, it would generate dynamic company names. Similarly, I'm going to generate the mailbox function. You can see, click on mailbox alias function, under which you can see multiple function types, right? So generate mailbox will generate unique mail IDs for each execution. So generally, if you want to use for sign up scenario, you can go ahead and use this so that it would generate unique mail IDs. And likewise, you can see to get email from to get your content from your email, subject validation, fetching a URL which contains a text, matching a reject. So you can use these function types as well. Now, once you generate a mailbox, enter your email ID, you can use this function which falls as part of the data generator function itself, which would ideally go inside that particular mailbox, fetch the OTP and enter it. So you can choose get OTP and provide the rejects, give your runtime in which the generated email ID is stored in the previous step. And this function would fetch the OTP from that particular mailbox and enter into your email field as well. This is how we handle the OTP scenario for email. Similarly, we can handle the OTP for phone number as well. So if you might have noticed, under the function type, we do have phone number functions as well, using which you can get your OTP as well. Provided you need to give your phone number and regex for your OTP. Now coming to the QR code scenario, we have NLPs which could automate scenarios, fetching the URL from your local folders, or even scanning a QR code, which is already uploaded to Testsigma. That's possible. So here you can see this is the NLP which would help you to scan any QR code or barcode and handle such scenarios. And along with the UI testing, we also provide visual testing as well, which would help you compare the visual differences between your two executions. So I'll show you how that happens. So this is a test case where visual testing is enabled. So how to enable visual testing? You can just choose which all steps in which you want to see the visual comparison between each step. You can click on update step and enable visual testing for this step. So the visual testing option would be enabled, and how we can see the comparison. So I have ran this test and this is the report page. You can see this green color camera icon, right? This indicates that the visual testing has happened. And the green color camera icon indicates that there are no visual differences. The red indicates that there are visual differences. So let's say I click on any of the red camera icons. I can see the base image and current image. The base image comes from my previous execution. Current image comes from my current execution. So here you can see the difference highlighted. So there is, here you can see there is a small overlap happening. You can highlight your difference as well over here. This is how visual testing happens over here in Testsigma. You can compare your, if any element has overlapped, if any element misplace has happened in the UI between your executions. So now coming back to our original test case. Now I have just built my test case. So this test case you can run in multiple OS browser version combinations. So once you develop your scripts over here in Testsigma, you get access to the cloud farm where you can run your script across 800 plus OS browser version combinations and 3000 plus real mobile devices as well. So for an ad hoc run, you can just click on run over here. From here, you can choose either you want to run on Testsigma cloud device, or you can run it in your local as well. You can choose your browser, resolution, the browser versions as well. And you can choose your OS and OS version as well in which you want to execute. And you can just click on run now so that the execution has been initiated. And we are now in the report page of the test case where you can see the live status of execution and the execution is in progress. And I can see the total number of steps that we have added over here. I can see the run ID and the test case is getting executed. Yeah, you can see the test case is passed. This is how the report page of an ad hoc run would look like. So you will be able to see the step level details, as in you can see the execution time taken for each action to execute. You can click on each step and view the step level screenshots and details, the element action performed. You can view the video, download both the screenshots and the video, even the logs as well. Now, if you want to run the script in multiple combinations of OS browser version, you can come to test suites and plans. So we were in test case level. We have just developed the scenario and executed in a single configuration. If you want to do a CI/CD execution through your CI/CD pipeline, you want to trigger it, you want to trigger your test plans, or let's say you want to run all your tests parallelly. So those comes as part of the test plan. But there is a prerequisite involved here. test suite. So test suite is nothing but we are going to bundle up the test cases. So which all test cases we want to execute in a test plan, you can bundle up here in test suite, and we'll be calling that suite in the test plan to execute in multiple machine profiles. So yeah, so here in this test plan level, I have linked my suite to 4 machine profiles. Similarly, you can add n number of machine configurations and you can run all of them parallelly, which would significantly reduce your execution time, increase your test coverage as well. In addition to that, you can also send reports to yourself, your email ID, or your team members or your management as well. And we do offer multiple third-party integrations as well. So if you want to get notified regarding the report into your internal communication channels, including Microsoft Teams, Google Chat, or Slack, we do have those integrations as well. Or let's say you want to integrate with any of your CI/CD tools which you are currently using. So we do offer multiple CI/CD integrations as well with different CI/CD tools. Also, you can raise your bug with your dev team. We have custom integrations with different bug reporting platforms as well, including Jira. So I can show you the integrations here. So these are the integrations for bug reporting. So for collaboration, lab, product management, and CI/CD. So we can integrate with any tool. So we have a custom script. We can integrate with any tool as well with our custom API. Yeah, so that was a quick overview of how Testsigma works how the web testing happens over here in Testsigma. We can extend the platform functionality by use of add-ons. So add-ons means, let's say you want to customize your custom ad NLPs over here in Testsigma, you can do that as well. Because Testsigma is a platform. On top of it, you can custom build anything. So you can make use of add-ons and customize anything, and you can custom add any NLPs within your testing scenarios as well. Yeah, so I have, that's all for the demo. Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, you can please go ahead and ask.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gayatri. I think the case studies, success stories were very convincing, as well as the demo on complexing test scenarios. Okay, so. Okay, if the audience has any questions, please do feel encouraged to post it now. I think there was a question on if we worked with pharma, healthcare industry. The answer is yes. Is there a certification that we provide? Not within this webinar, but if you're looking for help in being certified, please reach out to us. Any other questions, let us know. Okay, if not, what can you expect from this partnership? Shift Asia, as a QA powerhouse, we provide consultancy on what tools are fit for your test scope, security on premises, various need for your organization. Instead of having you have to look for and browse 30 different tools in the market, and then and Testsigma would come in as our partner to provide you with the user-friendly automation tool, one unified platform versus paying for 20 different tools in your tech stack. So yeah, that's what you can expect us from this partnership. And if anybody in the audience or anyone listening to the recording later has any queries on Testsigma, please reach out to this email address. And if you have any questions to Shift Asia about QA strategy, please reach out to this address. Okay, then we would like to close this webinar. Thank you so much for all the guest speakers and amazing content. Thank you so much.